She almost won. Violence, magic, weapon. Louis Arneb, the Archbishop of Gluttony, is not fair. She annihilates Natsuki Subaru with a question.
If your memory comes back, won't the current you just disappear? Isn't that the same as dying?
They've watched Subaru torn apart by beasts, broken on stone, and driven mad by grief. But what doesn't kill him and what does kill him makes him stronger. For the first time, he was speechless. Louis ate Subaru's memory. She knows his arrogance, his severe complex, his hunger for superiority, and his kindness is a facade. Calling me evil will make him defensive, so she says that Natsuki Subaru is not worth it.
What he always wanted was superiority, surrounding himself with convenient people, getting drunk on the pleasure of reaching out his hand.
Amelia, hateful, so standing beside her is generosity. Beatrice, fragile, so guiding her is heroism. Lemon, devoted, so receiving her devotion is a throne. Then she drives the blade home.
If the memory returns, the current you will be overwritten, the draft disappears. That's death, isn't it?
The amnesia has lived 5 loops, 5 resets of terror, suspicion, murder, and madness. He discovers something extraordinary. These people are wonderful. They trust him. They love him. He realizes how lucky he is. Now Louis does it. If you let the original back, everything disappears. You die, as the man who replaces you is worse than you. Checkmate. Subaru, no matter how many times he back from the dead, in his essence, just a human being. Louis is counting the chicken before he hatches. Subaru flips the board. If I cannot win your game, I quit. Louis built a perfect logical arena where memory equals identity. The two Subarus cannot coexist. Before he leaves,
My name is Natsuki Subaru. Natsuki Kenishi and Natsuki Nahoko gave me this name. Nothing else. I am me.
listen to what he didn't say. There are 2 more alternative options. I remember being in the song, and my experiences prove I'm Subaru. Kenichi Natsuki and Naoko Natsuki gave me this name. Being in the song is a fact, but naming is a choice. His parents choose to call him Subaru, the Pleiades. It's a bright, ice blue open star cluster in the constellation Taurus, located about 440 light years away. They gave him that name before he was born. The name preceded memory. That is why the first priority of any totalitarian regime is to replace names with numbers. A number belongs to an object. A name belongs to an individual. A name carries hope, blessing, and the belief that something good will happen in his child's life. Even when Subaru became a pathetic need who could not live his rule, his parents never gave up on him. They believed in, stood with him, and did everything they could. Amnesia Subaru thought he had nothing in common with Natsuki Subaru. He was wrong. They share a name, and that is all he needs. Louis believed the man is nothing more than a sum of his memory. Subaru's answers, memory is what I did, the name is what I believe. I believe in the hope my parents give me. If I could create something beautiful in 5 loops with nothing, I could create something greater as Natsuki Subaru with everything. I choose the unknown and risky hope over the sweet, safe memory. For Louis, that is the end of the world. And here is the thing about us. We are the amnesia. We claim our good memories and his, the sweet loops, the comfort of what we already know. It is easier to stand on your knees than to stand on your feet. Amnesia Subaru was obsessed with the memory of his past 5 loops. We are obsessed with the memory of him, doing nothing but projecting ourselves in other people's dreams until Lim came. Od Lagna. It is Louis' domain. She has eaten the memory of the world and she knows a fundamental law. Memory is something written on the soul. The more you experience, the dirtier you become. It reads the memory and the soul is born again. Everything is under her control until a voice speaks from nowhere. A voice that should not exist. Louis is shocked. Who are you talking to? There's no one there. She's right. There's no one there. Lim's memories were consumed. Her body is in coma. She does not exist in Od Lagna and anywhere else because nobody remembers her. She should not be able to be there and touch the man who does not even know her name. Again and again, Lim's voice is like a heartbeat that refuses to stop even after the body is dead. How? In the Western series 1883, when a young girl sits beside the grave of her first love, an old captain sits down next to her and says,
When you love somebody, you trade souls with them. They get a piece of yours and you get a piece of theirs. But when your love dies, a little piece of you dies with them. That's why you hurt so bad. But that little piece of him is still inside you, and he can use your eyes to see the world.
Subaru traded souls with Lim after her confession. There was Season 1, Episode 18. A decade ago in our time, Lim gave him a piece of her soul, the belief that he's a hero, the command to stand, and he gave her a piece of his. Louis consumed the memory of that exchange. She ate the recording, but she could not undo the structural change. She can erase what Lim had done, but she could not unmake the man Lim built. Memory is just data. You can write and wipe. But love is an act of belief. It has the power to break the law of the universe. Lam clapped Subaru so hard in episode 78 that he dropped to his knees and cried. Lim scolds him in episode 79 until he stands back up. Same still, different purpose. Lam strips away who he's pretending to be. Lim reminds him who he has to become. They're speaking to both Subaru and you. Lam slaps. Stop hiding behind stories and escaping the reality. No amount of wives, idols, and gacha games could fix you. Lim's command says, stand up. No matter how many times you fall down, enough is enough. I will not allow you to do it anymore. You heard her, you know what to do. The question is whether you will do it. Inori Minase returns. Her voice carries nearly a decade of absence. Subaru waited for this without knowing who he was waiting. We waited for this because Lim is a real fictional creation that demands something better of us. Lim's return succeeds because Inori Minase understands that the power of Tachinasai is in certainty. She commands. The voice says, I'm not asking. I'm telling you what you are. You are my hero. Her voice represents the clinging spirit that comes along now and again to renew us. Yusuke Kobayashi performs two Subarus, the terrified amnesia who clings to Louis' logic because he doesn't want to disappear, and the Subaru who says, Ori no namae wa Natsuki Subaru, with the quiet gravity of someone who has chosen to die for principle he cannot prove. The transition between them, from yada 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 to the name declaration, is a masterclass in control collapse and reconstruction. His mastery of tone and mood across their sheath is flawless. Konomi Kohara is Louis Anna. You know Kohara as a shy, tender middle schooler in Tsukigakure, the mania agent of chaos in Kaguya-sama, and Shiroha in Summer Pockets. Another story about time loops, grief, and the fatal temptation of hiding the sweet memories because reality hurts too much. The casting is brilliant because the voice is pure, innocent, and sweet. The sound of a child asking honest questions about the world. When she teases Subaru, how dare you hurt a little girl like me? She looks and sounds entirely helpless. That is the trap. Louis has consumed so many lives that she's done so few living that she sounds like someone who has never experienced anything. The innocence in Kohara's voice is an accurate representation of what total consumption produces. A creature who knows everything and understands nothing. She is what Amelia would become if you lock in a room with Netflix login. 1,000 lifetimes melodrama and zero human contact until she was 121. Konomi Kohara's performance is the embodiment of Louis, pure, hungry, and as empty as a stomach that has never been full. Early in this episode, before the Book of the Dead pulls Subaru under, he finds Julius and says,
"Do you actually intend to beat Reed?"
The fear in Julius' eyes is clear to see. Subaru continues,
"I've never seen you lose. I don't have yesterday's memories, so I don't know a single moment where you lost to Reed."
Louis says, memory is everything. Look at what you were. Therefore, you can never be anything else. Subaru says, I do not know your failures. Therefore, I only believe in who you are right now. Louis uses memory as a weapon. Subaru turns his loss into gift. What does Julius need? Encouragement, pity, or technical advice from someone who has watched the tape of his defeats? He needs someone who looks at him and says, I see you. Someone who trusts him without reservation.
What you lack isn't courage. What you lack is competitive fire, the will to win. I'm leaving Reed to you, that most dangerous enemy. You beat him.
Lim saved Subaru twice, once in episode 18, once here in episode 79. Subaru has now saved Julius 3 times. First, in the capital, by his shameless confession to Amelia. Second, by remembering him when the entire world forgot his name. And now, by forgetting his defeats when Julius could think of nothing else. In every case, salvation requires no proof of victory. It only requires someone willing to believe he can make it. Liv never saw Subaru win. She saw him try. That was enough. Subaru never saw Julius lose. He seemed to stand. That is enough. Louis is memory the way modern audiences consume fiction. She experiences thousands of lives, but lives none. Love, betrayal, victory, loss. She knows everything through other story and has never once done any of those things herself. It reminds me of Diana from 1976 masterpiece Network. In that film, William Holden looks at Faye Dunaway and delivers one of the most blistering indictments in American cinema.
She learned life from Bugs Bunny. The only reality she knows comes to her over the TV set. She's very carefully devised a number of scenarios for all of us to play, like the movie of the week. Your television incarnate Diana, indifferent to suffering, insensitive to joy. All of life is reduced to the common rubble of banality. War, murder, death all the same to you as bottles of beer. And the daily business of life is a corrupt comedy. You even shatter the sensations of time and space into split seconds and instant replays. Your madness, Diana, virulent madness, and everything you touch dies with you.
Diana consumes so much media that she became numb to reality. Louis consumes so much second-hand memory that she can't feel anymore. Both are starving at a banquet. Both are dead but still moving. And the thing Louis wants most, the only thing that could ever satisfy her, is the one thing that cannot eat: death. She can eat the memory of love, hate, betrayal, and trust. But she cannot eat the experience of dying because death cannot be transferred. The more she eats, the hungrier she gets, and she's not alone. We know too much and feel too little. We read too much and write too little. We think too much and act too little. We love too much and like too little. We imagine too much and live too little. And Subaru says,
My suffering, my death, my life, all of it, it's mine. I won't give you a single piece. Starve to death, you thief.
The line spoken to Arneb, the Archbishop of Gluttony. It is also spoken to us. We consume Subaru's loops, his death, his pain, his growth, and we call it entertainment. We live through his suffering and projecting ourselves into his victories. We're doing exactly what Louis does, eating someone else's life because our own is empty. Of all the anime I've seen, this one most completely embodies the romance of watching anime. It asks you to watch, then it asks you what you're doing with your life have to watch. Louis cannot stop. A saying is her identity. He will keep eating until he last breath because eating is what she is. But we have a choice. We can stop. We can stand up. Most people will watch the next episode like nothing happened. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Keep eating. Keep living through fiction instead of through action. They heard limo. You listen to her. And you will stand up.